So one of the things that you talk about and using a language that is not widespread in our field is a term that is particularly seems central to the way that you work with men is your ideas about leverage. So
Yeah.
talk to us about leverage and getting leverage with male clients. What is leverage and why it's so important?
Okay. So, in order to understand leverage, you have to back up a bit and understand a few things about grandiosity.
Okay.
Because I believe that while this is a broad generalization, and I admit it's a broad generalization, generally speaking, women in our culture tend to lead from the one down kind of shame victim position and have covert issues of grandiosity, whereas men tend to lead from the one up grandiose position and have covert issues of shame.
Uh-huh.
That's not always true, but it's often true. And so, what you're going to be dealing with, what's going to hit you in the face when you're dealing with a lot of men, is one-up grandiosity. And a couple of things to say about grandiosity, and then you'll understand why leverage is so important. The key thing to understand about grandiosity is that unlike a shame state, when you're in a shame state, you know it, you feel bad about it, you're motivated to get out of it. When you're in a grandiose state, I mean, think mania and bipolar disorder.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a grandiose state, half the times you don't know it. And frankly, it doesn't feel bad. It often feels good.
Mm-hmm.
It feels good to get intoxicated. It feels good to lose control and start making out with your secretary. It feel, the things we do that get us into trouble, we do even though they get us into trouble. But we're not so stupid that those things feel bad. They feel good. So grandiosity feels good and it impairs judgment. Specifically, it impairs your judgment in terms of the impact you're having on others. Again, think mania. And it impairs your judgment in terms of negative consequences. We have to take people who are in a manic episode and lock them up because they're liable to start skating in traffic or something. Their judgment of negative consequences is skewed. So if you have a guy who's riding in the one-up grandiose position, his judgment is impaired about sensitivity to others. His judgment is impaired about negative consequences, and he's not feeling bad. Ergo sum, you add all this up, and you don't have an incredibly motivated guy. So one of the things we say is that basing your therapy on particularly a grandiose-based guy's goodwill is what we call, and let me know if this is too technical for you,
Mm-hmm.
what we call thin ice. It
Mm-hmm.
is thin ice. And so rather than basing our therapy on nurturing this guy and loving this guy and having this guy love us, we do all of that and we like all of that, and that's all very important, but it's step two. Step
Mm-hmm.
one is answering the following question. It's the question that the guy will be having about you, which is, why should he be putting up with you? And the answer, why he should be putting up with you, had better be that you have something he wants and that you stand between him and negative consequences he doesn't want. And that's leverage. It's carrot and stick. If you have something that the guy really wants and you can help him with it, if you
Mm-hmm.
stand between him and negative consequences that he very much doesn't want, like, for example, losing his wife and kids, that's all great stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we need in order to begin to work with the guy.